どうも皆さんこんばんは、せるじおでございます。本日も動画をご覧いただきありがとうございます。さて、今回はご覧の通り、いつもと違う場所でお届けしておりまして、今回はバカルディジャパン株式会社様の提供でお届けしております。ご覧いただくといかがでしょうか。こちらのロイヤルブラックラがたくさん並んでおります。こちらに並んでいる通り、シングルモルトスコッチウイスキーロイヤルブラックラをテーマにしまして、なんとグローバルアンバサダーをお呼びして、今回トーク対談インタビュー動画をお届けしてまいります。ぜひ皆様ウイスキーまったり飲みながらもう最後まで見逃せない内容となっておりますのでお楽しみください。今日はですね、スペシャルゲストをお呼びしておりますので、早速お呼びしたいと思います。グローバルアンバサダーのマシューさん。Thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me. A real pleasure.
Yeah, me too. I'm honored to be here to your special ambassador. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, in early morning, actually. Thank you. So is this your first time to visit Japan?
It's my first time in Japan.
Oh.
But I'll tell you, it will definitely not be my last. I'm already looking forward to my next trip.
Wow, great. And how long will you stay in Japan?
I've been very lucky this time. I've had a holiday before I started work.
Okay.
So I got 10 days to explore your beautiful country.
Wow.
And now I'm here for 6 more days of work.
6 months. So around 14 days?
Around, just over 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow, great.
Not long enough. I wish I was here longer.
Wow, so please enjoy rest of stay in Japan.
Thank you very
much. Thank you for coming today, my channel. So, 今日はですね、こちらのマシューさんにお越しいただきまして、スペシャルトーク対談イベントをお届けしていきたいと思います。まずは、では、せっかくですので、マシューさんからセルフイントロダクションをしていただきたいと思いますので、では、自己紹介お願いします。
Thank you. So I have the wonderful title now of Global Brand Ambassador, which I've held for the last 4 years. In total now, I've worked officially in the Scotch whisky industry for 15 years. But really, I've been in the industry almost all my life. I grew up in the village of Craigellachie in Speyside, which I'm sure many of you will know as the Scotch malt whisky capital of the world. And I've had friends and family making whisky for generations.
Thank you. So, actually, I'd like you to cheers by the highball of the Royal Brackla 12 years old.
Perfect.
Can I make it?
Yes, please do.
では、ここからはマシューさんと乾杯をしながらですね、私が作ったちょっとロイヤルブラックラのハイボールで乾杯をしまして、ロイヤルブラックラ蒸留所の歴史について伺いたいと思います。それでは今回はこちらのロイヤルブラックラ12年を使いまして、特別なハイボールを作っていきたいと思います。まずはこちらのタンブラーに氷をたっぷり入れまして、ロイヤルブラックラ12年を注いでいきます。では最後にソーダを優しく注いでいきます。炭酸が抜けないように軽く混ぜて完成です。So here is a special highball with Royal Brackla 12. So cheers.
Thank you very much.
Please take it. Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah, nice bubbles. So thank you for coming to my channel and welcome to Japan. Thank you very much today. Thank you so much. 乾杯。Cheers. Slangeber. Yeah. Slangeber. いただきます。
That is delicious. Thank you.
Good. When I tried the highball, the Royal Brackla 12 at the event of finishing touch of the Royal Brackla, that was amazing. Yeah, so smooth and a fresh aroma and a long aftertaste.
I think for me, it's a perfect whiskey for a highball. As you say, very refreshing. You have the signature character of Royal Brackla is like summer, fresh in a glass. And then when you add the finishing casks, the sherry, as you say, it's rich, has a lovely depth and a long finish. So the perfect whiskey for a highball.
Perfect whiskey highball. 皆さんはこのロイヤルブラックから12年でハイボール作ったことございますかね。実はすごく滑らかで香りもフレッシュで、 余韻も長くてですね、とても美味しいので皆さんもぜひ作ってみてください。今日は1対3、1 to 3レシピ、1 whiskey and 3 soda レシピ。では、ここからはハイボールを飲みながら、ロイヤルブラックラ蒸留酒について紹介をいただきたいと思います。
So for me, you cannot tell the story of single malt Scotch whisky without telling the story of Royal Brackla Distillery. Today, it is one of Scotland's oldest legally founded distilleries, which is still standing, founded in the year 1812. So a very prestigious, very historic distillery. We were founded by a man called William Fraser. He was a local man to the village, the town of Brackla, where the distillery was built. He was a farmer. His family were a farmer family, and they grew barley. He left home very young to fight in military service, and when he returned, a decorated soldier, he was now called Captain William Fraser. He decided he wanted to not only grow barley, but turn it into something more special and more profitable in the form of Scotch whisky. So he was one of the first to take out a legal license in this part of the Highlands. It was very difficult at this period in time to have a legal license in Scotland. The cost of a license was very expensive. And because of this, he found it very difficult to sell his whisky locally in Scotland because there were so many illegal whisky makers selling in the area. So because he found it difficult to sell his whisky locally, he decided to send his whisky down from Scotland, down into England, and it was there it would find a very famous drinker as a big fan of our whisky, and his name was King William IV.
では、今回はこのロイヤルブラックラということで、ロイヤルという名前がついた First Distillery of the Royal.
The first distillery.
Yeah. That is a very important point to know about Royal Brackla, you know?
I think so. So when we opened the distillery in 1812, we were just Brackla Distillery. But as I say, we found it difficult to sell in the Highlands of Scotland with all the illegal whisky makers, so we sent the whisky down, where it was then drank by King William IV. He said this whisky tastes like it comes from the heavens, tastes like it comes from the gods. And he said this whisky is the drink divine. And he said this whisky shall be known as the King's own whisky. And in the year 1833, he granted the right to call herself Royal Brackla, with the first royal warrant in the history of Scotch whisky.
Wow, great introductions. Wow. So this is a very traditional and very luxury. And of course, this whiskey is known as and registered as the Royal whiskey from the King.
That's it. In the whole history of Scotch whisky, there have only been 3 distilleries with the right to use the word royal in the distillery title. One of those has already closed down in the 1980s, so only 2 distilleries survive today.
Yeah, I know there another one. Yeah. さて、ここで今、ロイヤルブラックラ蒸留酒の歴史について紹介いただきましたが、皆さんなぜロイヤルとついているか、そしてこのロイヤルブラックラの蒸留酒の歴史を知る機会っていうのもなかなか限られてくるかと思いますので、今回、グローバルアンバサダーのマシューさんから教えていただいて非常に勉強になりました。ありがとうございます。Thank you for your introduction of the process and the history of the Royal Brackla Distillery.
You're very welcome.
それでは、ここからですね、特別なロイヤルブラックを今日は3種類ご用意いただきまして、こちらにございます。12、18、そうスペシャルなウイスキーが並んでおりますので、マシューさんと一緒にテイスティングをしながら、そしてこの製造方法であったり、ロイヤルブラックラのそれぞれのシェリーカスクのキャラクターなども聞いていきたいと思います。それではこちらですね、今回ロイヤルブラックラ12年をまずはストレートでご準備いただきましたので、こちらの魅力や特徴をマシューさんに聞きながら実際にテイスティングしていきたいと思います。
Wow. Can I see what a wonderful color?
Yeah, wonderful color. Very deep.
You can tell straight away there's the influence of sherry here. Before we taste the Royal Brackla 12 years old, I think you need to understand about our whiskey maker and the vision that she has for Royal Brackla. Our wonderful malt master, we call her, is Stephanie MacLeod. She is the malt master for our single malts and also the master blender for our blends such as Dures. So a very prestigious title, a very prestigious role. Stephanie today is seen as one of the best whiskey makers in the world. She was the first woman ever to win the International Whiskey Competition Master Blender of the Year. She then became the only person in history to win that award 3 times, and now she's just showing off because she's gone on to win it a further 3 times. She's now the 6th-time winner of Master Blender of the Year at the International Whiskey Competition.
Congratulations for that prize.
Yeah. Congratulations, Stephanie.
Congratulations.
Come back. So we are very lucky to have her as our malt master in charge of Royal Brackla. And her vision for the range is really to explore finishing with different sherry casks. So with the 12-year-old, we start with the signature sherry cask finish. As you'll know, when most Scotch whisky distilleries talk about finishing in sherry, they look to Oloroso whisky. It is a fantastically well-rounded sherry, and it works incredibly well with the general character of Scotch whisky. Now, under the Bacardi ownership of Royal Brackla, we first launched a range in the year 2014, and that original range was at 40%. It was chill filtered, and the entire range was finished in Oloroso. So the entire range now, we have moved up to 46%.
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
A little bit of a difference there. We are all natural colour as well, and we are non-chill filtered. So a much more traditional style of bottling. We know that Oloroso worked so well for the old range, so we wanted to celebrate that with the first whisky in the new range, which is why we have finished with Oloroso for the 12 years old.
So when I tried the first time at this 46% after millennial one, actually I only know about previous 40%. I felt about that more honey and the malt and the long aftertaste type. So completely different. Yeah. So I was surprised when I first tried the 46%.
I think that lovely freshness, as you say, that the honey and the malt is still there, but it's expanded. I think with moving up to 46%, you get a much richer depth to the whiskey as well. Also, with it being non-chill filtered, you're letting some of the rich fatty acids come through. So the way the whiskey sits on the palate, it coats the palate. It's a much richer depth. So for me, it's like supercharged Royal Brackla. So we've had a look together. Well, we have a taste together now.
Yep. Okay.
Cheers. What are your thoughts here on the palate?
Very well rounded. Yeah, my palate and a long aftertaste on my back. Yeah. And smooth and fruity, but not fresh fruity. I felt some kind of dark fruit. Yeah.
I think you're our next master blender here.
No, okay.
Because Stephanie's thoughts are exactly the same.
Oh, really?
If there's one word you're going to remember when you think of Stephanie MacLeod, the word for me is balance. She's a master of creating balance within a whiskey. Now, although the finishing, as you can see, we've talked about, is in Oloroso casks, for us that's around 6 months for the finishing. The initial maturation, however, is majority will be ex-bourbon casks refill. Now, by using a lot of refill bourbon casks, you allow a lot of the distillery character to come through. You're not losing it with the big heavy sherry cask finishing. So for me, it allows that perfect balance where you still see a lot of the distillery character, but it's in perfect balance with the finishing cask. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. Wow. Actually, I introduced about this 12 years old at my YouTube channel, the 30 best of whiskey of the sherry cask.
Wow.
That is my title. Yeah. I always introduce about this at my channel. So Linear is so good, I think.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And after more 2 whiskeys out there.
I think so, yes. Yeah. Shall we try the next one?
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Cheers.
さて、お次はですね、こちらの、なんとロイヤルブラックラの18年、18 years old. So special.
Very special.
Special.
And I think when you look at the color, you
Yeah.
can see something very special. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people say you've got a lovely dark 12 years old. Normally, the older the whiskey is, the darker you think the color is going to be. So suddenly we have a very light 18 years old. People say, why?
Yeah, so bright. Bright.
It's all down to the casks we are using. So again, the initial maturation here we have predominantly is refill ex-bourbon. So again, this will give a very light color. And then we are finishing for about 6 months in a very rare, very unique sherry called Palo Cortado. We've had a look. Shall we have a taste?
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.
Slanjva.
Slanjva. What do you think to this one on the palate?
Much more fresh and bright. Very bright. I felt some more dark color image by 12 years old, but when I tried 18, this is very fresh and more, how can I say, juicy fruit.
Yeah. For me, again, if there was a whiskey that represented summer, for me,
Summer.
this is it. Now, we have a saying in Scotland, there are only 2 seasons. I know here in Japan you get 4 beautiful seasons. In Scotland, we say there are 2. There is winter, and then there's July.
You're right.
And sometimes in the month of July, we have a very special day, just one day, we call summer. So for me, this would be the perfect whiskey to enjoy on that one day in Scotland. However, here in Japan, as we've said, it's a little bit warmer today. So this is one I think that can be enjoyed across summer here in Japan.
So this is representing the only one day of summer in Scotland.
Again, Palo Cortado, it's such a rare and unusual cask to use. And I think on the palate, it offers some very rare and unusual flavors. As you've said, it's very light, very ripe, very soft fruits. I think there's also a sort of leather note. There's this interesting note that sits just in the finish. But the last thing I notice in the finish on the palate is a lovely, fresh, zesty note. Almost citrus as well, a real fizz.
I think when I tried 18 years old at a big whiskey festival in Japan, I tried here. But this is the second time to try 18. I can feel more freshness or fruity. So this is very good. Yeah. I was surprised. Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Slanjva.
Cheers. Slanjva.
Kanpai.
This is the last one.
This is the last one, and I've saved something very special.
Very
for last.
special. Wow.
So of course, this is the Royal Brackla, 21 years old. I think this whiskey is a masterclass in sherry in just one bottle. Here we are finishing with 3 different sherry casks combined together. So again, the initial maturation, we are using ex-bourbon casks, predominantly refill casks. Then we separate that into 3 different batches, where we're finishing for 6 months some of the whiskey in Oloroso, separately some of the whiskey in Palo Cortado, and then finally separately some of the whiskey in PX Pedro Jimenez casks. They will finish separately for 6 months in each of those casks, then we'll combine them to make the Royal Brackla, 21 years old. Only 6 months finishing, but combine each after 6 months. Yep. So again, the colour, beautifully dark, rich colour coming through. Again, you can see the influence of all 3 casks coming here. Would you like to try? Shall we have a taste?
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Liquid perfection.
Very complex and well-rounded. Yeah.
I think this whiskey really highlights Stephanie's skill as a whiskey maker. Now, it's very difficult to use so many different casks, but still have everything in balance. We can see here the influence of the distillery character, that lovely summer breeze, that freshness. We can see the influence of the Oloroso cask with that little spice coming through, the cinnamon spice, and those lovely dried fruits. On the nose, we can see the influence of the Palo Cortado, that lovely zest, that lovely freshness. And then at the end on the palate, we can see that lovely influence of the PX, the Pedro Jimenez, that lovely dried dark chocolate note in there as well. For me, I don't think whiskey gets much better than this. It is liquid perfection. Our whole story for Royal Brackla, for me, you can see on our crest, on the logo of Royal Brackla. And right at the middle, right at the heart of our logo, you can see a crown made of casks. And then coming from the crown, you can see two kinds of plants. You can see barley coming up in the middle, representing, of course, our ingredient for Scotch whisky. But around the barley, mixed in with the barley, you can see the grapes, representing the sherry casks which we use. We say sherry is our finishing touch for Royal Brackla. By finishing the sherry casks, it lifts, it elevates the Royal Brackla character. So for me, this is one of the finest examples of a sherry cask finished whiskey. Now, it's not only me that thinks this is one of the finest whiskies in the world. It has won many competitions. This is our most awarded Scotch whisky within the Royal Brackla range. It has won Best Highland Single Malt Whisky in the world. It has won category trophies. It has won many gold medals. I think a true celebration of Stephanie McLeod's skill.
I can't say describe with just one simple word. Yeah, very complex and fruity.
It is such a complex whiskey.
Yes, so complex.
I think it's great, looking back at the history of Royal Brackla, we can see in our books, the records show we've been using sherry casks at Royal Brackla since the late 1800s. So it's great to think all the way from when our distillery began, all the way to today, we are carrying on this tradition of using sherry casks, and it's something we celebrate with Stephanie's style and enjoying the Royal Brackla style as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Much. I really enjoyed this great experience.
It's been my absolute pleasure to join you today. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Me too. Thank you so much. So I'm honored to be here with your great ambassador. So could you send a message for my channel's listeners?
Of course. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching the video today and it's made you want to try some Royal Brackla whiskey if you haven't already. I've had the most fantastic time in Japan. I look forward to coming back and sharing many more whiskies with you. So kanpai, slanjava. Cheers.
I hope we will meet again in Japan.
I'm sure we will, or Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland. Yeah. That's perfect.
I look forward to sharing another whiskey with you very soon.
I will contact you. You have the opportunity to visit Scotland. Yeah.
I hope so.
Thank you so much today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Slanjava.
Slanjava.
マシューさんにお越しいただきました。Thank you, Mr. マシュー。Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.